In what can only be described as a shadow drop, Paradox just announced and published a new region pack for Cities Skylines 2. Now, with still no custom asset import inside, we're suddenly greeted with an influx of a bunch of new assets to provide some more variety. Naturally, they're all very much coded to a specific region, but needless to say as well, they look absolutely great. And since the almighty algorithm demands to be fed and I don't have a new video from Schwanach ready, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a spontaneous look at the Netherlands region pack for Cities Skylines 2. And, yes, hey guys, this is Titan. Without further ado, let's dive in a quick glimpse of the pack that might just be enough for you to decide whether it's worth giving the game another chance just yet. This new pack is made by 4 very well-known names in the community: Jess, Gruni and Revo from the French region pack, French architecture, and of course Revo's Emporium of Trains, and Feindbild from the German and the Chinese region pack, 2 CCPs for Cities 1 and 2, and of course all his contributions to the Cities 1 workshop, and I really hope I didn't forget anything here. The pack comes with 5 new zones and a whole bunch of new service buildings, as well as some props that we'll dive right in to see how they look and what they offer. And in typical region pack fashion, I displayed all of them here so that we can have a look at all of them one after the other. Now, I'd like to start right away with the service buildings. We have a whole bunch of service buildings once again in different sizes for, I think, all of the different functionalities. Maybe 1 or 2 are missing, but all the important ones are there. There's fire stations, there's police stations, there is a college, there's a post office even, and we have, and that's what we're gonna start with a closer look right now, a brand new gigantic train station. Now, in the dev diary, the creators, and I think it's, if I recall correctly, it is written by Revo, and the station is in fact made by Revo, because who else would have done a station like that? It's looking spectacular. Revo describes it as being inspired by the station of Eindhoven and The Hague. I think it's a very nice looking modern station. He calls it sort of mid-century modern, so I think mid-century modern is like 50s, 60s if I recall correctly. I see something here that would very well work in sort of a German post-war city to the west of the country, sort of like in the Ruhr or Rhineland area. I really like the station. It also has a very sort of streamlined, modern, what's it called, like a canopy above the platforms. Very nice, very welcome. And it is an elevated station. I think it's the first time we actually have an elevated station or an elevated train station in the game, and I very much approve of that. It's a really great thing to have in the game finally. Other than that, the station, it's a very large station, which is great. I think a realistically sized station, but it also has a bunch of parking lots, of course lots and lots of bicycle racks. It's a Dutch pack after all, so that just makes sense. And it also has quite a large bus terminus or bus station at the front of it, which is also a very nice addition, I think, that can be used as a sort of intermodal transit hub quite well. And as should be, the station also has a rear entrance, which I also very much approve of. The only thing I find a bit strange is that that's not really a criticism with regard to the pack, it's just something that I find odd about sort of the architecture of the building, just a spontaneous thought I had, is that we have the main entrance here, but behind the main entrance there's no exit out of the building, even though there is a tunnel beneath the tracks, but there's no exit here. Little bit odd, but yeah, I don't want to see that as a criticism on the pack. It's a really great looking station, and yeah, I'd love to see that in use in a build or in a future city of mine, just because of its sort of, yeah, post-war 50s, 60s, maybe 70s, I'm not sure, but let's call it 50s, 60s, so that would be mid-century modern, yes, because of that look. Really, really great. It doesn't have any upgrades that we can give it, which is Maybe a bit of a shame, but then again, I think the station already offers so many different modes of transit. It offers yeah, so many amenities that I don't think that's necessary at the end of the day. And it is, and that is really great, it properly utilizes the 3 color channels that the game provides. So we can change the color of the bricks, which is really nice. We can change the color of the trims around the building, and we can recolor the roof of the glass canopy above the platforms, which is also very nice. And I do have an idea what I could use that in a future city, but that is for a future city or for a future project, and not something that we can do today just yet. Next up, we have 2 buildings for infrastructure utilities. So we have a small Dutch substation, very small. I think that could work very well in sort of suburban areas where you just need yeah, that direct connection to the grid, which is really nice. And we can also give it an upgrade, and that is really nice, an upgrade so that it also provides high-speed internet connection to the city, so that it also combines the telecom functionality in it, which is the first ever that someone has done something like that. And yeah, I think it's a really great idea actually. And once again, we can recolor the bricks, and we can recolor the roof, and that is it. But still, recolorability is always great in my book, and I'm very happy that that is something that I really took care of in this set. And then we have a new water tower. Yeah, it's a thin brick water tower inspired by the 1920s Dutch architecture. I think it's very streamlined, not much to say about it. Once again, recolorability is given, but yeah, I don't think I need to check it for all the other buildings that are in the pack, because by now I think you got the gist. All of the buildings should be recolorable. I think that sounds right. And yeah, great addition. And once again, it's a water tower that, in contrast to the vanilla water towers, like this small one, it also can serve as a bit of a focal point in a more suburban district, which is yeah, quite a nice addition to the game and to the variety that we have. Moving along into the health sector, we have a small and a large scale clinic slash hospital right there. The small clinic, very cute, very small facility. It has space for, let me check, actually two ambulances. So we have probably one in the garage, the other one is parking behind the building. I could imagine that there's like a bunch of doctor's offices in there, maybe 2 or 3, and some rooms for patients to, recover. It's a very simple, streamlined building, and I think it just works very well in sort of, once again, suburban, maybe even rural areas. And then we have a quite large Dutch-styled hospital. The whole building is sort of in a, I wanna say 1920s-ish style. I'm not sure. Does it say anything? No. In a 1920s-ish style, I quite like it, because that is the style that I also always liked, but so far never really gotten around to get my hands on myself. So that is a great addition. It has quite a few more ambulances. It has quite a few patients that it can store, is the wrong term, but you get what I mean, I guess. And we can provide it with quite a large extension to the other side. In fact, we can double the building and then have a symmetrical building, which is, I think, a great looking hospital, and also a smaller extension to that side, providing more room for patients and even more ambulances. I don't really care much for the simulation aspects, but more for the city painting aspect. So I'm like, great, but don't really look at the cost per month and the employees it needs. But the building itself we see here, and it's a great looking building that I think could also provide some great variety to be used in Schwanach as well. After healthcare comes deathcare, and once again we have two buildings. We have a crematorium and a cemetery, and the cemetery you already see. We have lots of options here. What's that? What can we do with that? We're gonna get there in a second. First of all, the crematorium. Once again, very streamlined, very simple in design. I think looking building. I think that is aside all the gabled houses we see in Amsterdam and all the different other old cities in the Netherlands. We usually see those gabled buildings, but I think, and that is something the creators of this pack managed to portray very well, is that the Netherlands also has a bunch of more modern, streamlined architecture. And yeah, this is just another example of that. We can also add a little sort of parking ground, compound, garage. Is it a garage? I don't know. Extension to provide more hearses. It's a really great looking building. I really like the two courtyards it has. Really lovely idea. Overall, once again, of course, the creators of this pack have done a spectacular job at designing all these buildings. And now let's come to the cemetery. By itself, the cemetery is once again great looking. It's a standalone cemetery. It has a custom wall around it with some fitting wall pieces, and I really like the lamps there. The lamps with those brass covers. Really great looking. This is all nice as well, but that's not really the great thing about this cemetery, because the creators had the idea to provide modular extensions to this cemetery. So what you can do is that you have all these exits here, and by using those you can add on the cemetery. And whoop, please rotate, please stop it. It's a bit, you can tell that the game is not made for that. Yeah, let's place it there. You can extend the cemetery however you like, which is something that it's just such a great idea. There's a whole bunch of different options you have. Also just standalone graves that you can plop onto the building, and otherwise you have both columbariums. Those are places where urns are placed. I wanted to say stored again, but where urns are placed, and burial sites with larger graves. For each of those you have full-on four-sided intersections. You have corner pieces, you have end pieces, you have pieces that go straight through, so that you can really extend this graveyard into whatever size and design you can imagine. And that is a really great addition. Such a great idea, and I hope that many future additions to the game will copy that idea, because kudos to them for not only coming up with that idea, but also to fiddling around with the game and sort of quote-unquote researching as to how this can actually be achieved in the game, what dimensions these individual pieces need to have, what dimensions the paths connecting them need to have. Great idea, so well executed. Just kudos. Chugging along, we come to the education side of the pack, and we have 4 education buildings included into the pack. We have an elementary school, we have a high school, we have a university, and we have a college or a college auditorium. The buildings are, I would call them sort of medium sized, and I think all of the buildings are sort of designed to be placed in either very dense suburbia or more of an urban setting. So like the elementary school is a wall-to-wall building. Once again, it has that sort of streamlined Dutch architecture. It has 2 extensions that you could also use to really extend the building along the road. It snaps seamlessly and visually just extends the building very nicely. And it then also has an adventure playground that is placed at the front of the building. And look at the, what's it called, like the chalk paintings. You have like a Dutch train, you have a KLM plane, you have a boat. You have some gabled houses that we can also see all the way over there. It's really beautiful, really beautifully done. Then we have the high school that is quite a bit larger, quite a bit more urban just due to its size. Also has two extensions. It has this large slanted extension ring. I really like that, also because of the extension ending right at the edge of the lot, providing once again a bit of a wall-to-wall functionality, which I'm always a fan of. And then we have, wait, where is it? Ah, yes, we have another floor to be added on the roof that really ends the building on the upper floor. Really great school building. And then moving forward, we have the university building in roughly the same style, with a very nice looking courtyard. And otherwise, I suppose behind those windows would be the main auditorium, or sort of the largest auditorium, or maybe there would be the cafeteria also behind them, since we have those benches out there, the canopy above them. Yeah, really great looking building. We have also two extensions. We have a research library that's added in the center of the complex. So maybe I guess that's in fact the library that is behind those large windows, and it's getting extended with this addition at the center. And we have additional auditoriums that are placed all around the building, on the roof of the building, with large glass windows. So I think we could assume something like that this is the original building, and then these auditoriums were added in more recent years. We have this very large ceilings here behind glass windows, providing some modern addition, and just a lot of room for more lectures. And then we have this building. It is a college building, but it's sort of not a whole college. It used to be, I think we could say something along the lines that it used to be, a congregation hall, a religious building possibly, but this the historical building has been renovated and is nowadays being used as a college auditorium. So while technically the pack doesn't have a standalone college, it has this really great historic building that is nowadays being used as part of a college, and in that sense you can incorporate it very well into your historic city centers. Next up, very simple, we have a small and a large fire station. Once again, the small fire station is a bit more of a very suburban affair. 2 vehicles behind those garage doors, and then we have a large fire station with 5 vehicles behind 5 garage doors, which just makes a lot of sense. And this one also has a helipad addition, and it has extra vehicle base at the back here for up to 11 vehicles, including the helicopter up there. Moving on with the last 4 service building that the pack offers. Maybe let's just start with Heritage Windmill, because it's just such a staple Dutch thing to have in and around the city. The creators of the pack provided us with a windmill building. It can be found in the Parks and Recreation section. There it is, the Holland Heritage Windmill, and since it's a park, it can be placed multiple times, also once again utilizing the color variations. You can see that in the blades there, which is just, as I said, always a welcome addition in my book. And it can be extended with a small gift shop and cafe down there to have it more of a tourist site. And I mean, honestly, it's just beautiful. It is just beautiful. But the video is already long, so let's just continue straight on to the police station. I think the police station just follows the general trend with all the other buildings. We have once again this very streamlined, I guess, 1920s look. I particularly like the design of the windows with these, is that wood or metal? Oh, I'm not sure. With these 8 boards along the windows. I don't know, I just really like that. We like that window design. And then it also has extensions. So it has one extension at the back that causes it to really use the lot to the fullest extent. It can also be used in a bit of a wall-to-wall setting, which I also always like. And we have an investigation unit at the very top. Visually, it's a great addition. Next up, the last 2 service buildings, we have 2 post offices, starting with a smaller post office. It's a very simple wall-to-wall post office that very much works together with the medium density zone that we can see all the way in the distance there. We'll get there in a few minutes. And last but really not least, we have the historical post office. It carries design elements of the Amsterdam School, and the historical post office will be the iconic landmark of any Dutch city center, and oh boy, it will. It is a great looking, more historic building, although historic is also, it also goes into the 1920s if I can see that correctly here. But just architecturally, it is a really great representative building that I think fits very well in almost any European city center. The thought I immediately got when I saw that building is that it could be such a nice terminus station building as well. I actually tried that by, sort of just very dirtily clipping the Mediterranean station in there, by just clipping that in there, but sadly the Mediterranean station is bigger, so that didn't work. But nonetheless, if you want to play around with it a bit, I think you could turn that into a very great, more historic station building as well. In fact, it does remind me a bit of the station building of the central station in Helsinki in Finland, because it also is made from brick and has that 1920s design, although it looks quite a bit different still, but the general feeling is there somewhat. It also has an extension that turns it into a city museum, or at least also a city museum. It still provides post vans and post trucks, so the functionality as a post office is still there, but it gets this very large modern addition at the back of the building. So we have this sort of courtyard that's then added onto by this modern extension and turns the whole building into a museum. And I can really see that building being a museum. I can really see that, and I might actually use it as such. Or it could also be, I think, sort of a town hall. If we combine it with some other elements, I could very much see that as a town hall building. Oh, I'm getting ideas for Schwanach, my friends. I'm getting ideas for Schwanach. The inspiration is flowing again. Just by that you can see how much we are in need of an asset editor, because just the ability to use different buildings already provides so much new inspiration. But we're not there yet. I don't know how long it's gonna take still, but we're not there yet. Hopefully soon-ish. But this alone, great addition. And of course, after all these service buildings, we can continue with all these growable buildings. We have 5 different zones in total. We have 2 zones even for low density housing. The difference between them is largely the shape of the roof. So we have like gabled low density housing and gambled low density housing, which is kind of like a mansard roof of sorts. If you're maybe from the Netherlands, feel free to explain this to me, because this is the difference between those is not really something that I'm let's say used to. But in either way, we have some low density housing that, with the 2 variations we have, and also some corner buildings for the gambled buildings, provides some variants as well. And I think these are really meant to achieve sort of low density, yes, but tightly packed low density, the same that you can also see in British cities or in British suburbs, and that from my experience and just looking at Google Maps as well is also just very common in the Netherlands. So in that case, I think this is very authentic, very regional, as is the point of this pack, of course. All these buildings have, backyards and stuff, and we have loads and loads of different varieties. Like you see that with, let's call them verandas on both sides, on only one side. We have 1x2 and 1x3, so we also have some deeper lots. And the same, of course, goes for both gabled and gambled, that we have different variations, so that even if all these houses look very similar and if you use a lot of them, they create a rather sort of homogeneous district, I think they still provide enough differences so that every house still looks unique. Now we go to, well, the sort of, from my outsider perspective at least, the quintessentially Dutch part of the Netherlands region pack, and that is the medium density row housing, which are essentially the typical gabled houses you see in all the different Dutch old towns, be it most prominent in Amsterdam. Everyone knows Amsterdam with its canals, but that exists just as well in Utrecht or in, say, Groningen, for example. So that is really nice. We have quite a large array of them. All of them are 1x2 or 1x3, so I think that also provides enough variance with regard to the depth of the building. We have also corner variants, and that is quite nice, especially with the 1x3 building. You see that the corner variants actually, at least visually, include 2 different buildings on them, which I think is a really great idea, to have corner variants and still keep sort of the scale of the building. So that is really nice, and yeah, just overall really fantastic looking. We have here like this neoclassical facade. I think that's like 18th century. I think 18th century buildings, and we have these more typically gabled with like the curved gable from more like the 17th or even 16th century. I think 17th, less 16th century. So it's just really great, and you see that I just did a quick test city and tested all of them out, and you can just see how well these just give a really great Dutch feeling, and how easy it is to build a quick canal, plop these next to it, and it looks quintessentially Dutch. It is really great, and the team that made the pack here did a really great job in modeling all these. Biggest of thanks and congratulations and whatever else you can give to them. And then we have 2 additional styles. We have low rent housing and medium density housing. Both are sort of wall to wall. The medium density housing comes in sizes 2x2, 2x3, as well as 3x3 and 3x3. Okay, so they're all 2 or 3 cells deep and 2 or 3 cells wide. We have some corner buildings. Again, these follow the sort of streamlined 20s-ish style that we've seen at the service buildings, and I can definitely see them in German cities as well, and I will definitely use them in Schwana, for example, as well. They sort of fit in sort of a category that we don't have at the moment. We have very modern stuff, we have very ornate stuff, like the most part of the German region pack, but this fills a great gap in between of streamlined facades, but sort of from the interwar period. And with these as well, we have quite a large array of buildings, so that while they all follow the same style and look rather similar, then again they look all very different up close, which I think should be enough to provide a varied and heterogeneous streetscape and cityscape. The last set is low rent housing. Being quite honest here, I don't know a lot of Dutch low rent housing, and as of 2025 I'm not sure if that actually exists. But I suppose these buildings are also from like maybe also the 20s, also from the interwar period. Maybe they are post-war buildings. Please educate me on that. They definitely look like low rent housing, very sort of utilitarian, very boxy as well, but I think also buildings that you could very much see in France. I think I have seen buildings like that in Paris. You could also see those buildings in Germany, definitely. So once again, sort of the European styles being very open to one another, and you can combine them very well. Overall, this is again quite a large amount of content that we get for the game, and even if we still don't have an asset editor, it is still a very welcome addition to have all these to, let's call it, ease the time that we still have to wait until we finally can dump all our own all our own assets into the game, and I really do hope that this will eventually be a bit of a turning point in reputation for the game. So with all that being said, and I think I got carried away a bit there, but well, I think you know me, that does happen from time to time. It is quite a long video. For those of you that stayed all the way until the end, thank you very much, and I hope that next week we can go back to Schwanach, maybe also use some of those buildings there, although probably not. We'll see. In any case, thank you for watching, thanks for staying with me through that whole video, and maybe you also are a bit more inspired now to get back into Cities 2 and see what the pack offers, and yeah, maybe then we can hopefully use these assets to bridge the time until we can get to a working asset editor. In any case, as I said, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. If you want to get in touch with me and talk about the pack or my other projects or other people that follow my work, you can hop on to my Discord server, the link is in the description of course. And of course, if you want to support me further with small rewards like early access to assets, soon DM, or videos, you can also support me on Patreon. And since this video is not sponsored by Paradox, even though I sort of made advertisement for them, but I think I just showcased the work of 4 brilliant creators. I think it's more what I wanted to do here. So yeah, if you want to support me even further, you can join my Patreon, the link is in the description as well. And of course, the biggest of thanks to all the other people who already and still support me on Patreon. You are amazing, and I'm just so happy that I have that privilege. With all that being said, yeah, thanks for watching. I hope we'll see each other again, sort of, next week with a new video from Schwanach. Until then, stay tuned, stay healthy, have a great time, and bye bye.